Hello, my name is Eric Albright, and this is my ENME 351 Lab 9 submission or project. So what I've built is a game where the LED lights will run around in a circle continuously, and your goal of the game is to block this photoresistor from seeing this LED when it lights up. And the way that you block it is by pressing that button there, which will lower the servo for a set amount of time. There's an RGB LED to indicate what stage of the game you're in. So if it's red, it means you're not going, and then it will also do a startup sequence going red, yellow, green to say, ready, set, go when restarting in between lives and in between games. I have a battery pack here to provide power for the servo, and obviously the Arduino Uno with digital pins for all of the lights in the array, as well as analog pins reading the button state, and also the photoresistor there. Everything is connected to ground, obviously, and then there's also digital pins for the RGB LED. The processing displays your score, your high score, and it also displays your lives in the top right hand corner, which you will be able to see when I start playing the game. There's also a game over screen that shows you your score and then the high score. So yeah, it's pretty simple. To start the game, you press the button, your lives will show up, the startup sequence will go, and then if you don't lower the servo in time, the photoresistor will catch it, you'll do another startup sequence, your score is not counting. But if you do block the LED in time, then the lights will keep going, your score will keep going, and yeah, you'll get to keep playing. Something else you can see is that the lives is also decreasing when you hit the light, so you can see that when you stop. And then another thing about the game is that it speeds up over time. So as you keep playing, it gets harder and harder. The amount of time that the servo will stay down for decreases. Another feature is that if you were to hold the servo, it would not stay down. It stays up a little bit, just indicating a little buffer time and to keep you from holding the servo down and, cheating the game by just always having it in that down state. But as you can see, that's my submission. Maybe I'll throw a clip in that shows how fast the LEDs can start going, just for a little bit of a reference, and then we'll move on to the code. Another thing I forgot to mention is this enclosure. It's just pretty simple. It goes over the computer, has a cutout for the screen. It's meant to kind of block some of the incoming light that might disrupt the photoresistor, and also to make the game look a little bit more like an arcade game. Okay, so here's our code. We've got all of our setup stuff here, setting the pins and everything, some values for the game, such as the servo positions, also the resistor limit, and then we have our void setup. We're just setting the pins as outputs or inputs. Here we're doing a lot of things, obviously. We've got our lives counter. If lives is less than or equal to 0, your game's over. Our startup sequence, updating our LEDs down here, and then also we're doing sensing the button, lowering the servo, setting our buffer times, raising the servo. What happens if you don't block the light? Every time it passes is how it speeds up. And then this is our update LEDs function, just updates the LED, to the next one. Our startup sequence, setting our colors for the RGB LED, a game over function to stop and then reset, and then our lower servo function, raise servo function. Those are basically exactly from lab 5, I believe it was, whatever the servo lab was from. In processing, we have our score counting, our high score, low score, or high score, current score, lives, and all of this. We've got our images here. We've got our stop go boolean, and setting up our images here, setting the background image every time if we're going, displaying high score, current score, updating that, and then reading over the serial monitor if we're stopped, if we're going, if it's game over, or what the lives are, and then displaying the lives images. And then this is our update score function, our reset game function, or our game over function. Yeah, so that is it. Thank you very much.